All right. So looking at this reading just from where I am, and from what I'm grasping, there's a lot of progress being made. Okay. But one of those things is definitely being more comfortable in yourself, taking a lot more responsibility, and no longer allowing the external energies to be the reason for a lot of your shortcomings. Okay. I feel like for a lot of you guys have a lot to, you guys have obviously thought on something for quite some time, and I think it was something that definitely needed patience with. But one of the things I find that's interesting about this reading is that this is about knowing your stances on things, knowing who your tribe, knowing, being aware of your commitments and your own responsibilities, and no longer allowing the external to take that power away from you, but to ultimately take full responsibility and put that power back into what you want to enrich in your life with. That's freaking powerful, Sag. Okay? That's freaking powerful. Now, looking at the past energy, you guys have the Hangman, and the Hangman does indicate there being, some standstills, right? Some things that are not moving, no progression of any sort. But this was mostly because there was some perspective that's come in to shed light on to shed light on your life, right? Because usually when the Hangman comes up, it's usually about changing or seeing something from a different angle, seeing things from a different perspective, however you kind of been living your life is it's not creating anything different. It's not making any progress in any direction in any way, because that perspective is no longer needed or no longer in use. It was time to surrender a certain ideology or some sort of moral code or whatever perspective even. It was time to shift that, or to surrender that old perspective, and to embrace embrace a new one, to embrace or to see something differently, to be even introduced to a new way of communicating or thinking and in living. Right now, what's brought you guys to what you guys have in the present is actually the Two of Cups, and I think that's pretty cool, considering that you have somebody that's very similar around you that will help you to not only to digest what you've just dissected, but also to practice, if that makes sense. I don't think that this is necessarily someone that's like someone that you use or something like that. I'm not trying to say that you use this person or anything like that. But what I am saying, though, is that the Two of Cups to me, indicates that there is somebody that's in your life at this moment that's not only just the perfect partner, the perfect connection with this person, but also someone that mirrors you, someone that that you connect with and on the same wavelength, or someone that's very similar to you, or this person reflects to you a part of you, a certain version of you that you would like, or someone that you desire to be. Now, what's interesting is that it goes on to the future to be the Five of Cups, which is then you go so straight to loss. And that's interesting to me, because it's like you have a good thing here. Nothing's necessarily wrong, but the future is foreseen here as a loss. And where you're coming from is where you guys are connecting as individuals. Oh, yikes. Now, I'm going to go ahead and actually pull on the Five of Cups, because I kind of have an idea of what that means. And that idea, okay, the Fortune just came out. And that idea has to do with the fact that there may be some old ways or old interactions that you may end up having to leave behind or lose. The way you guys used to interact may change. There's a lot of things that the Five of Cups can talk about other than just loss, but especially our missed opportunities here. But the relationship still remains, because the focus of what was lost didn't necessarily keep you from being able to reach success, if that makes sense. It doesn't keep you from meeting success here. So, considering that the Wheel of Fortune is coming up, it's almost like this is another opportunity. This is a second time around, right? Like, even though you've lost something, you still have an opportunity that's come back up to either try again or to do something differently. Or perhaps this is an opportunity to react differently to a loss or some sort, or react differently to something that you no longer have. The underlying energy shows the Eight of Wands, and that talks about progress being made. It talks about movement, things moving very fast. And it also can talk about feeling rushed and overwhelmed with information and things happening all at the same time. And it feels like things are just kind of coming at you, and you're not really sure if you're really prepared to handle all that stuff coming at you. And I feel like the reason why some of you guys may feel like you may end up losing something is partly because everything's kind of coming at you like that. The Chariot. Wow, that's another card of speed. But here's the thing, though. The difference between the Eight of Wands and the Chariot, in my opinion, which also, wow, that's awesome. The Star telling me that there was hope. You had a goal in mind. You had, inspiration. You had, something that gave you faith, and that pushed you to make it. And it pushed you to get things going and making things happen. It pushed you to not only balance yourself out for the potential success of whatever your goal was at that time, but it also talks about how you felt more stable, because felt more comfortable with yourself because you had everything under control. But then it seems like things kind of are going out of control again. And the potential of something being lost here because things just kind of kept going, things are just going out of hand, things are just moving too fast. It can make you feel like you could lose that again because things are just moving in a speed that you don't feel like you can handle. At the same time, I kind of get a sense of that with the Eight of Wands too, because Eight of Wands can indicate the arrows of love. You guys may be falling in love very fast, or maybe falling in love with this person very deeply. And the fear that you have, I say fear, but I say the future that comes up is that you may either lose connections, lose friendships, because the emphasis or the focus has a lot to do with now on the relationship. Or there's some sort of something that, again, like I say, again, for the millionth time, is that you lose something. You're afraid of losing the relationship that you have here. Perhaps because there's differences in the way you guys view something. I'm going to pull another one. Why is the Wheel of Fortune clarifying the Five of Cups? The Chariot. Wow. You have an opportunity to be successful, but the focus and the emphasis will be on something that is no longer there. The way that you used to be, or the way you used to think, may be the thing that you're looking at here, the emphasis that is being considered at this moment. So, of course, even though the relationship is there, even though there's something to still work on, and the attention doesn't have to be directed to what you may not have, what you had to kind of adjust your mindset to, like the Hangman suggests. There's still a relationship there. There's still something to work on. There's still, option 2 and 3, or option 1 and 2. Maybe you've taken option 3 and that didn't really work out, but you still have other things that you can work on. Now, the Queen of Pentacles coming up as your best path to follow does suggest to me that this is talking about grounding yourself and focusing on something that can produce a long-term solution or long-term goal, and really buckling yourself down and focusing on what you believe has great value to you, right? And it's good, because if you do that, it does give you it does boost your self-esteem. It does make you feel a lot more solid, a lot more stable, and less in the air, and less frivolous. And I feel like with the Queen of Cups coming up in this placement too is also about commitment. Committing to the person that you're with. Committing to the person that you can connect with in such a deep level that the Two of Cups can suggest. I feel like the fear is that you miss out on the opportunity to go forward with something, right? And go forward with something, and you may end up missing that opportunity. But I feel like if you commit to it now, commit to what this relationship is to you, commit to the work that is needed to build that relationship, you won't have to worry about ever feeling like you're going to, lose it or not have it anymore. The opportunity that the shop closes down, right? Maybe you've met someone and they're not necessarily in that relationship yet, and they make you happy, but there's this feeling of either losing, maybe this is about freedom or whatnot, but it's like you have there's something going on where, you're not, there's either you're not avidly taking it, or things are moving too fast, or you're not interested in moving fast, or you want to move fast, but you're still careful. You're still very careful. And that's very interesting that you have a fixed energy, or excuse me, not fixed energy, a earth energy for you, or, for a fire sign. But I feel like at the same time, it's really about committing to a certain goal and a certain path. Now, your outcome is the King of Swords, and the King of Swords is very logical. And I think that's primarily the reason why I'm saying just go for it. Go for it. Commit to it and go for it. And the King of Swords will sit there and think on things. He will think on it. He's very fast. He's not very slow. But this is someone that's connected with somebody, and the intellects, I feel like some of you guys that are watching this are sapiosexuals, but I feel like for a lot of you guys are attracted to this person's intelligence. This person could be an air sign, Aquarius, Libra, Gemini. But I kind of also see that this person, being that they don't have to be an air sign at all, can indicate to me that this person is somewhat emotionally stimulating. But you also are very defensive of this relationship. Like, you're not necessarily open to it. Like, you know what you need to know about the connection, which is that there is something there that's drawing you to this individual. There's some sort of attraction. But you've kind of put yourself on ice with it, if that makes sense. Like, instead of being the Sag or being the fire sign that you are and just riding that fiery, passionate energy out, you've put it on ice. You've cooled it down. You've not, it's not as potent or not as strong as it would have, because you're using your mind. You're being an air sign when you're not. I'm not saying that you should just do stuff and be reactionary like an Aries, but you're definitely not supposed to act like a Libra or an Aquarius, or even a Gemini. Your 7th house will make you do that, because considering that your 7th house is Gemini, right? And this person is definitely someone that will activate that 7th house. I don't know if you're dealing with a Gemini or not, but the point of this is that this person is making you, it's making you defensive. Not because if they've done something to you. I don't think this person might have, but I think that ultimately this person is brought your back up because your emotions are very precious to you. They're very serious to you, which is why, this is someone that, because you care about this person, that, it's accelerated. It's because your emotions mean so much to you. How you feel about them is someone that is greatly something that you value. And I think this person is showing that they are stable and they're solid and they're ready to settle down. They're ready to start to commit. And the only thing that they're looking for is for you to do the same. But right now, the King of Swords is telling me that either you guys are really defensive or this other person's super defensive. Right? And I think it's even more incentive to be the Queen of Coins, because it's advocating for you to be and show that you are reliable and that you're patient. That you're going to continue to build the trust with the person, to build the relationship, despite this person's, efforts to show that they're, no one to mess with and they're not interested in someone to play games. And I think the biggest thing to show them that is to be committed and be consistent in the saying and the showing of your willingness to commit to them, and willingness to settle with them, stabilize with them. Now, your hopes and fears is the 8 of Coins. And I feel like a lot of you guys do hope to work things out with this person, especially if there has been some either disagreements or changes in thinking and behaving within the relationship. Because the 8 of Cups does talk about working on something, focusing on something, really putting your time and effort towards something. But I feel like with the Eight of Cups coming up like this, it kind of suggests that, that you do hope for there to be something to work out, because maybe there is some things that you may feel like, are not resolved between you and this person, or they do need working on. But but I feel like you just want to get to that point where you guys can work on it. And I think that's the biggest message. I think you guys do want to work on it. And I think you may have had a change of heart of some sort, and the person that you're connecting with is now very defensive with you because of something that may have happened in the past. And you fear that you may end up losing out on the potential of expanding a relationship because of whatever this Hangman energy was. Whatever you needed time to understand, right? Really to work out. But the only way for this person to even consider you right now, that even if they have, especially if this has a lot to do with trust in general, or someone that has a problem with trusting you or trusting people, period, you have to show your reliability by presenting yourself in a situation, or presenting yourself in a way that does show stability, reliability. So your outcome is showing the Four of Swords. And considering that the Four of Swords and the Five of Cups is like diagonal from each other, it does raise a little of an interesting flag to me. I kind of get a sense if some of you guys may end up having to take a break, or this person may want to break from you and break from everybody else. Some way and somehow there's a time of reflection energy to figure out whether or not something, not whether something's worth your time or not, but to really, to heal from the situation, or heal from the devastations, or heal from whatever you guys have gone through. But it talks about a break, but the Four of Swords is always a temporary break. It's not a break that lasts forever. So there may be a time where you may need to just take a moment to rest and take a moment to just kind of, collect your thoughts. And that's always okay, especially if this person has been traumatized. Because usually the King of Swords is, defensive the way that he is, and adamant about the way things need to be for him, is because he's been through enough to know what he needs to do for himself to protect himself from being hurt again. Okay? Because he's been through a lot. So I feel like somebody that you're dealing with has been through a lot of traumas, a lot of, disappointments, a lot of pain. Because the King and Queen of Swords they're been through a lot of pain. And I think it's just really about having the patience and wherewithal to be able to just step away from the situation, or not step away, but allow, the person space if they need that to break, and then be ready to come back to them when they're ready. Is the willingness to work. Surrender outdated beliefs about yourself, and that's the Hangman energy from the past, and the King of Swords, the external energy I feel, and even the Queen of Pentacles. Let go of limiting ideas about yourself that originate from the past. Then you can own your power and soar in your life. The old you doesn't have to, the old you is the old you. It will always have something to... It will always, be a part of our lives because it taught us the greatest lessons that we need to learn for ourselves. However, that outdated belief about ourselves does not determine who we are today. We get to decide who we will be and who we are today. And committing to that truth is the biggest thing that we need to do for ourselves, rather than allowing the past consequences and the past situation, the past us, to determine who we are right now. Sure, we have to deal with the consequences, or the karma, or the whatever that comes from our old selves being our old selves, but we are our new selves. No longer letting the old way dictate or project the old stuff when we're trying to be the new person. Okay, that's why I said in the very beginning, I feel like for a lot of you guys, you're really looking at where you can take personal responsibility, and no longer allowing the outside world to have any sort of influence as to why things haven't been working and developing and processing and blossoming in your life. You're now taking 100% responsibility, in the sense of you are now seeing the situation for where it needs to be perfected on your end, and taking that power back and doing what you would love to do with it, which is create and build and be the person that you want to be.